Hello guys, good afternoon. You're welcome back to my channel. My name is Olivia. If you're just seeing me for the first time, thank you and welcome. I'm a Nigerian who lives here in South Africa with my family, and I make various content, guys. I'm sure you like it here on this channel. Why wouldn't you like it? I mean, it's fun here. I make content around my lifestyle. I make content around Nigeria, South Africa, and anything I actually deem well fits, I bring to this channel. So you will like it. Please do well to hit on the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, and as you do, hit on the bell sign. That's where you'll be notified of my subsequent videos, because I release videos as often as possible. And please give this video a thumbs up, okay? And yeah, and to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. Yes guys, so like I said earlier, I'm a Nigerian and I live here in South Africa with my family. And if you don't know, just so you know, in case you just see me for the first time, I studied in Nigeria. I had my BSc degree in Nigeria before I came to South Africa, and I studied for 4 years. And I also had my honors degree here in South Africa. I studied for 1 year, and I also had my master's degree here in South Africa, and I studied for 2 years plus, because I did my coursework for 1 year and I did my thesis for 1.5 years or thereabouts. So yes, so I have experiences studying in South Africa and studying in Nigeria. Okay, so in today's video, of course, like you know in the title already, is a South African university culture shock. Yes. Because I'm a Nigerian first, of course I'll always be a Nigerian, and I studied first in Nigeria. So when I came to South Africa and I started doing my honors and my masters all through my years of study, I had a lot of culture shocks, okay, based on how things were being done in Nigerian university versus how they were being done here in South African universities. Okay, so this is South African university culture shock. Yes, of course, like you know, culture is a people's way of life, the way things are being done of a certain people or a certain community or a certain university or a certain whatever. So that is what culture is. So there's a way that Nigerian did everything about Nigerian university. Of course, they had the good, they had the bad. In South African universities also, there's a way they did their things. They had the good, they had the not so good as well. Okay, so in today's video, it's just the fun part anyway. It's just a fun video, just the ways, the differences, how I felt, and differences of how things were being done in Nigeria versus how they were done in South Africa. Things I expected in South Africa based on the Nigerian experience that I had, that I was like, okay, wow. Okay, so the first thing I noticed immediately I started my honors was how South African university students greet their fellow students. Okay, so just to note, I did undergraduate program in Nigeria, and I did postgraduate and master's degree, of course, you know, in South Africa. So the experiences may be different based on the fact that, oh, it's postgraduate and it's undergraduate and all that, but I just still will have to point out what I noticed differently in some areas. Okay, so the first is about greeting. In Nigeria, how Nigerian students greeted themselves was like hug. Hug was a normal thing back then, to the extent that in my school was IMSU, that's Imo State University. So there's the ones we used to call IMSU hug and Futo hug, or IMSU hug and Alvan hug. Okay, so one thing I noticed that South African university students, from what I saw anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, tell me what it is based on, you know, what your experiences are as well, or if you're South African, correct me wherever I'm not getting it right. Okay, so what I noticed is that South African university students, they were warm but not so, you know, huggy. In Nigeria, oh my god, the hug was a bit too much. We used to hug, boys hug girls, like a guy would just open his hand and you hug and all that. So we used to call the full hug like this, we used to call it IMSU hug, and Alvan hug is side hug. My god. Or naked or poly, just something, you know, students just say for fun. Oh, give me an IMSU hug, come on, give me an IMSU hug. So one thing I noticed is that hugging was one thing, but in South Africa you say Johnny, you're peeling, yeah, or Jumela, Johnny, it was smelling Johnny, so Johnny, you're peeling, Johnny. You now start talking, they you know. So okay, I was like, okay, no hugs. The hug was too much back in our own times. Okay, so it was a culture shock for me. A very prominent one that I would say that was a culture shock for me. I'm sticking on the socialization part right now. So in school in Nigeria, then we have award nights like we have social week, a week that we can have social weeks. In that social week is the week people, different departments had award nights, parties, socialization, picnics, outings. Just students just plan and have those social week. So we call it social week. That's where we also do what we call rag day. Rag day is when, I think it's towards matriculation. Yeah, towards matriculation, we used to do award nights. We used to do rag day, the one that students will wear rag, like they'll wear like very crazy looking clothes and go and be asking for alms in the street. Rag day is one very prominent thing that they did in Nigeria back then. I don't know if they still do it now. That I didn't see anybody do rag day in South Africa. Rag day, students used to go collect money. You just dress anyhow, go on the streets. Anybody you say it's rag day. Oh my god, I didn't do rag day, funny enough, because I was a shy person, but I saw students doing rag day and it was like a normal thing. People would give them money and they would dress anyhow, they would dress funny. It was during that social week that students do rag day, and students get money, get different things. You can even from here, as I'm in Rustenburg, you can go to Pretoria for your rag day and you're dressing, you're asking for money and people are giving you, that social week. That's when they do different social activities, award nights, social nights, picnics, outings and all that. So I did not see that in South Africa. Tell me guys, South Africa, do you people do social nights? I didn't see anyone. I think I only saw one poster that looked something like a social something. In Nigeria, social week, no academic activity happens on social week. It's just for socialization for students. It's a full week. One day is award night, one day is a picnic, outings and rag day and all that. It's fun in Nigeria. So but in South Africa, I didn't see any social week or social rag day or all those things, which was a very shocking thing to me, because students really looked forward to that. And another very prominent one that I will say for free is that I didn't see matriculation. Matriculation was not a thing in South Africa. South Africans, what happened? Do you guys do matriculation? Matriculation is induction of new students, like first year students in universities. In Nigeria, every university does matriculation. I didn't see it here in South Africa. It was a very huge culture shock for me. No matriculation, but there was graduation and the one we call convocation in Nigeria. Okay, so if for Nigeria, convocation happens every 4 years in Nigeria. So that's the difference between Nigeria and South Africa. But in South Africa, convocation, which is called graduation, happens every year. Students do. There's a graduation day or 2 or 3 days where different universities or different campuses for UKZN does their graduation. So it was a shock for me that there was no matriculation as well. No matriculation. Instead, they did graduation and they did it like every year. Whereas in Nigeria, there was matriculation every year, but convocation was every 4 years, and they'll merge the groups to do the convocation, which we call convocation. But in South Africa here, they call it graduation. So it was a huge culture shock for me. You see, the social week, no much social activity and no social week and no matriculation was a huge shock, social shock for me, and culture shock for me rather. So tell me, correct me guys on the comment section. Do you guys do? I did not hear anybody inviting me for matriculation. In Nigeria those days, matriculation was even hotter than convocation, because a lot of students don't go for their convocation. Like me, I was here in South Africa, and when my batch did convocation, I didn't go. But matriculation, a lot of students do matriculation. It's like also a hot thing where families will come for your matriculation. You wear that matriculation gown that looks like your graduation, regular graduation gown here in South Africa. Your parents will come with food, drinks, and entertain your friends. So that's matriculation. So it was a culture shock for me that there was no matriculation, rather there was graduation. So I think in place of matriculation, they do graduation every year here in South Africa. So it was a huge culture shock for me when it comes to South African universities and Nigerian university. Another thing that was a culture shock for me in South African university is that there are no departmental dues. Which is this one, I really like this one, because in Nigeria, oh my god, they used to tax us departmental dues, faculty dues, and somebody used to embezzle that money. So in South Africa, no departmental dues, okay, Oh, that's good. So that was a culture shock for me, that there was no departmental dues that I had to be paying every year, which we paid in Nigerian universities. Okay, so another culture shock for me is that when it comes to, I'm sticking with social activities like food. Oh my god. So another social culture shock for me in South African university is that there are limited canteens in South African university, which was a big deal for me, because in Nigerian university then we used to have so much canteens. A lot of people used to sell different kinds of food inside the school premises. There was different kinds of foods and drinks. You have variety to choose from. Unlike South African universities, that it was only one canteen that was available for you to buy things from. So in Nigerian university, I didn't cook most times while I was in school, because when I come to school, I after my first lecture, I'll go and have my breakfast. In the afternoon, after my last lecture, maybe when it's afternoon, I'll go and eat my lunch, then I'll go home and sleep. In the night, I might just take noodles or bread or something small. I'll sleep. In the next day, I'll come again. So I didn't used to cook those days in Nigerian university. Even around the universities, even when you come out of where we call front gate or back gate, we used to have front gate or back gate. Depending on where your hostel is, you go from either the front gate or the back gate. So when I used to come to school from the back gate. There are a lot of canteens in the back gate. There are a lot of canteens in the front gate. So that was a culture shock for me when I noticed that there was no canteens around the South African universities. I was like, don't these people like food? It's like South Africans, you people don't like food. In Nigeria, canteens everywhere. Even things that students like where students make their nails, salons, where students cut their hair, where students buy cheaper clothes, as university students that don't have money, cheaper shoes and all those things. They had all those small kiosks where they sell those things around the university, because those ones, they don't sell it inside the university, they sell it out of the university. So life was a bit cheaper for us then. But I noticed that in South African university, all the students, they go to Checkers to buy their things. I'm like, it's not expensive for them. So they don't have cheaper places where they buy things, at least in the university that I attended, which was University of KwaZulu-Natal, Pietermaritzburg campus. Yes. So that was a huge culture shock for me, because in Nigerian university, outside the school, when there's a university somewhere, everywhere around there will be busy. They sell things, they do braais, they do like grills, finger foods, chips, all those different things. People will be buying. Students will buy cheap things. Some students also sell things, out after their lectures. They come out and do their businesses. So it was a very bubbly and busy kind of setting, compared to South African university that was kind of quiet. If you just drive in, you do your thing, and if you just come inside the school, you go to cafe, you buy your coffee, you buy your whatever you want to buy, drinks or just that. It was very different for me. It was a huge culture shock, because when I get that admission, I was like, I'll have activities, but it was very different. So that's a huge culture shock for me when it comes to South African university. And and again, we had also picture stands in Nigerian university. That was a thing then. I don't know how it is. I'll try and find out, because then, oh my god, I'll just probably show you some of the pictures as I'm making those particular statements. I'll show you some of the pictures I took inside the university then in Nigerian university when I was in school. I don't know how it is now, but there was like that. My campus then, Imo State University, we had like up to 10 photo stands where you come in the morning, like the way I'm dressed right now, just come and take my picture. Though I presume things will change because of the advent of cell phones, but then those picture stands were there, and then people take pictures, and people, even when you're doing final exams, those picture stand guys will come and take you and your department's pictures, and they will, by the end of the day, they will come and give you back your pictures. You will pay them. So picture stand was a staple. Like, it was a big deal in Nigerian university then. Even when we did our NYSC, National Youth Service Corps, picture stands were all over our camp, because that's what we, after university, you do your National Youth Service Corps. If you're a South African, that's what we do. Like, it's like serving your motherland. We do it in Nigeria. there's also picture stand. So picture stand was a huge deal in South Africa, in Nigerian events, compared to South African university, that I didn't even see one picture studio around the university, or one picture stand, or people that took pictures maybe doing final exams, or doing, the only place I saw pictures during our graduation, I saw a picture stand, 1 or 2 picture stands outside the graduation venue. That was the only thing that was the only place I saw picture stands when it has to do with South African university. But in Nigerian university, then picture stands were a big deal. I'll just be showing some of my pictures that I took that year, you know, in Nigeria, so that you will see how I looked versus now. Okay, yeah. That was so many years ago. Another culture shock that really shook me was my department in South Africa was Department of Law, IT and Governance. So we had law students and we had IT students, and we have governance, like, you know, other like human resources, supply chain, other things. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that with all these departments, I didn't see any departmental uniform, especially with law. With the law one is a very shocking thing for me, because I studied with law students, like it was their department also in South Africa, and I know that in Nigeria all law students have uniform, and their uniform is white and black. They come to school every blessed day with white and black till from first year to final year. If not only in my campus, all over Nigeria, they kind of use it to practice, you know, dress code when they will become lawyers and attorneys and all those kind of things. So, but I didn't see it here in South Africa. Law students just wore normal clothes. And again, our other departments have departmental uniform where they wear it ceremoniously if there's something that is going on in the in their department. Like my departmental uniform then was pink and black. Some departments was blue and black. Some departments were dark blue and black, just like that. But I didn't see anything that looked like departmental uniform. So it was a huge culture shock for me in South African universities, especially for law students. Law students, it's a well-known thing that they wear white and black in Nigeria. So it was shocking. I guess, yeah, it's simplicity, which is good. Now let's come to academic culture. Oh my God, the academic culture in South African university was so much, because oh my God, it's so different from what I know. Let me start with the way things are done. The way things are done in South African university, it's very serious and more academic looking, kind of. Not like Nigerian universities are not serious, but the difference is just so different. Okay, so in South African universities, they begin to practice group work early, in the sense that they give you people group assignment, at least, because during masters and honors. I don't know about undergraduate. I didn't do undergrad in South Africa. In South African masters and honors, they give you group work, which was a culture shock for me, because in Nigeria I did all my group assignments and presentations that I had, not a lot. Once I think my presentation I had in Nigerian university was once or twice I saw or so, but I did it alone. But in South Africa here, you do group work together in a group. You do group presentation. They try to promote group, working in group early enough compared to Nigerian universities, though it's undergrad again. But however, yes, I'll still point out that, and it was a huge culture shock for me. And again, the assignment was a lot in South African university. It was postgrad again, but it was a lot. Presentations was every day. That one shocked me, because I know that even when you're doing your masters in Nigeria, you will do presentations, but not like as frequent and as often as we did it in South Africa. We did a lot of presentations. So the academic part, I had a lot of culture shock when it came to academic part in South Africa again. And another academic culture shock I had was how you approach your lecturers. Like, you had the right to go and book a section with your lecturer and discuss whatever you want to discuss here in South Africa, compared to Nigeria, that you can't go and be booking your lecture, except it's your thesis. During your thesis, yes, you can have book your lecturer, but apart from thesis, I don't think you just go and book your lecturer. Say, I need to see you, and you go and see the lecturer. No, at least I didn't do that. It wasn't a culture in Nigeria. Compared to in South Africa, it's a culture, to the extent that they tell you their meeting days. The lecturers tell you the days that they will be in their office, just for you to come and discuss whatever issues you have. So it was a huge culture shock for me. And again, another culture shock for me, academic culture shock, was that South African universities, in the night, the universities were always quiet. Yes, They study in the lands, but the lands are very quiet compared to Nigerian universities, where in the night the universities are very busy. There's a culture we have in Nigerian university that they call night class. A lot of students go for night classes in Nigeria, and yeah, that's what I know. But because I used to do my night studies in South Africa here, and it was always very busy. You see only few students in school compared to Nigeria, that in night class, the different classes, you know, people are having different classes from 9 till morning. So it was a huge culture shock for me that there was no night class culture. I think because South African universities is a different age right now, where everybody probably have their computer, they do their things in their room, study in their room, and yeah, I think that's the thing. And the rest have internet. Maybe that's the reason. So then again, the age and the time is a bit different now compared to when I studied. But I know that they still do night class in Nigeria, and that's why, yeah, that's one thing I can say about Nigeria and South Africa when it comes to academics. And then again, South African university academic culture shock again. They were in tune to the library a lot more than Nigerian students were in tune to library. They use the library frequently, and another culture shock that I had was that if you borrow a book from the library and it overstays, you're going to pay. Me, the first time I borrowed book, I just finished, I left it there. I didn't even know that if I return it, if I don't return it when I'm supposed to return it, I have a levy on my head. So the book, when I came to return it, they said, no, you have to pay. It's not a lot of money, but I think 50 rand or something. Hey, I'm like, whoa. So it was a culture shock for me. Next time I had to immediately, before my book was expiring, I had to go and immediately return it. So I think they did it so that students will always return their books. They had this library culture where students were always borrowing books, and I borrowed a lot from the South African universities. And yeah, that was a huge one. In Nigerian university, I only went to the library just a few times, honestly. The library was not a thing for me then. I don't know about now. And Nigerian university, again, South African university, there was a lot of computer lands, which was a huge culture shock for me. I'm like, a lot of computer lands, a lot of departmental lands, postgrad land where they have computers and internet. It was a huge culture shock for me because we didn't have those computer lands in Nigeria. I don't know about now. Things must have changed a little, of course, but then we didn't have it. So yeah, it was a huge culture shock for me as well, and I did appreciate it because I used the hell out of those land. And then another huge culture shock for me was that immediately you step into South African university, oh my god, your Wi-Fi, so long as you're a registered student, you can connect to the Wi-Fi, you can connect it to your phone, you can do anything with the Wi-Fi 24 hours. Oh my god, that was a culture shock for me because when I was living in Nigeria, to be fair, the internet was just starting. It wasn't, it was just MTN, and we didn't have it in the university then, and my dad had to be recharging internet for me, and I was only using night plan for my laptop then. I could only browse at night, so it was a huge relief for me that I could browse day and night, and even in the university I could do my work in the university. And it was a good experience in South Africa. Although I had fun in Nigeria, it was a good experience for me as well. I enjoyed my studies in both universities, and I did well in both universities. To God be the glory. Yes, I did psychology in Nigeria as a major BSc, and I did masters in human resource management, and I did honors in human resource management here in South Africa. So guys, yes, that's the end of my South African university culture shock, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just nothing deep, just a culture shock, and things I enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Share your thoughts with me. Tell me what you think. Did you have any culture shock? What do you know? I'm just making this video so you understand how things are in Nigeria and how it is in South Africa, in case you intend to study in any of the countries, or in case you're curious about any of the countries, their system, and how things work in both countries. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share this video, comment, like, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye. See who is awake. Say hello. Hello. Say, how are you? Good. Say, fine. Good. You're awake? Fine. How are you? Pa. Pa.